The Matrix is an American classic science fiction film directed by Lana Wachowski and starring Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, and Carrie-Anne Moss. The film takes place in a futuristic world where humans are enslaved by robots and imprisoned in a virtual reality called the Matrix. Neo is a computer hacker who is found by another hacker, Morpheus, who tells him the truth, and Neo chooses the red pill to free himself from the hacking mission and joins Morpheus' resistance group. They have to fight against the robots and the agents of the Matrix, and find the legendary Prophet, a person who can end the war. Hacker's Quest is a philosophical and visually stunning film that explores the themes of reality, freedom, choice, and destiny, and creates many amazing action scenes and stunts. The film was a worldwide success and spawned 3 sequels and several spin-offs that have been mind-blowingly successful. The first episode of the movie was released in 1999, and the second and third episodes were released in May and November of 2003. The fourth episode will be released in December 2021. The film describes, in the 21st century, mankind successfully developed artificial intelligence, that is, the ability to think computer. In the 22nd century, these artificial intelligences have already taken control of many aspects of human life, and are enough to rival humans. The relationship between computers and humans has entered a very tense state. One day, in an attempt to regain control of the computer, humans attacked the artificial intelligence, but failed. Instead, the artificial intelligence defeated humans. From then on, the master-slave relationship between humans and computers was reversed. The human became a slave to the computer raised the human in a life-supporting machine and then drew the power needed by the computer from the human body. In order to keep the human brain active and to provide a comfortable environment for the prison of the mind to produce energy more efficiently, artificial intelligence designed a computer program that allows the human body to lie in a 22nd century life support machine, but allows the human brain to think that it is living in a virtual environment in the general human society of the late 20th century. This human society created by the computer program is called Matrix, which is the original title of the movie. The first generation of Matrix is called Paradise Matrix. Paradise Matrix, as the name suggests, the world is presented as a perfect utopia, without disease, war, and any other suffering, due to the lack of choice can be perfect results, so that a large number of human beings found this non-real world and die when connected. Agent Smith has assumed that it is because of human imperfection and the need to define themselves by suffering that these phenomena occur. It is known that the angels in the Matrix worldview were created during the first Matrix. When the Matrix proved to be a failure and was destroyed, many programs from the first Matrix were left in the second Matrix, and these programs are called exiles. The second generation Matrix was called the Nightmare Matrix, and was considered by humans to be a painful virtual world created by engineers, with many programs appearing as zombies, aliens, vampires, werewolves, and various mythical monsters, such as minotaurs. But is the second generation of the Matrix really a visualization of human suffering? The speculation is that the first generation of the Matrix may have failed, so it chose to build in the opposite way. The third generation of the Matrix is the version that appeared in the movie trilogy. The priest found that the way to make humans think that the virtual world is real is to have choices and to simulate the Earth of the late 20th/early 21st centuries. If these people continue to live in the virtual world, it will lead to chaos and collapse of the Matrix data. Therefore, the priest decided to keep the rebellious humans in a certain container, which is the city of Zion. Therefore, the machine side thought of focusing the error code on a specific human to make him become the so-called the One, and the engineers and priests, who foresaw this situation, put the code to restart the Matrix in the body of the Savior, so that the Savior could restart the Matrix before it collapsed and save it from extinction. This is also why the machine side chose not to kill the rebels directly, but let them build the Zion city. The purpose is to let the Savior and human emotions. The Savior will not let 99% of the human race in the virtual reality of death choose to eliminate 1% of the human race in Zion. On the other hand, they need the Saviors to learn human emotions and obtain data to enable the Matrix to upgrade to create a more realistic virtual world, making it difficult for humans to detect anomalies. Then, the machine will select 16 women and 7 men from the human race to rebuild Zion City, and then select a new savior, an infinite cycle, maintaining a delicate balance. But the new savior Neo is different from the previous saviors. He would rather choose to save the woman he loves and break the whole cycle, which is the structure of the Matrix. The rebels have accidentally escaped the control of the artificial intelligence and survived deep underground. These people try to destroy the artificial intelligence and free humans from the control of the computer. These people found a way to rescue some people from the life support machines. The first episode of the movie begins with a description of a man who survived, named Morphs. He believes that the hero Neo, Reeves, has the ability to save humans from the control of the computer. Therefore, he finds a way to rescue Neo from the life support machine and bring him to the real world. At the end of the first episode, Neo really lives up to the expectations and defeats the computer messenger. In the second episode, the artificial intelligence found the location of the only remaining human city, so it launched a large-scale attack operation. The only way to stop the computer invasion is to enter the computer host. Although the hero finally successfully entered the computer host, but he still cannot stop the computer's attack on human action. In the third episode, the computer successfully attacked the human city underground. In order to save humanity, the hero decided to enter the headquarters of Artificial Intelligence and Power Center Machine World City. However, the hero is not going to fight with the artificial intelligence. He simply cannot win the artificial intelligence, but run to negotiate with the artificial intelligence. The reason is that there is a problem with the equation of the computer messenger in the mother world created by the artificial intelligence with the computer program, so that one of the computer messengers, named Smith, will have the ability to endanger the survival of human beings and artificial intelligence. So the hero wants to cooperate with the artificial intelligence to destroy this computer messenger. Under the cooperation, this one computer messenger was eliminated and the artificial intelligence kept its promise to live in peace with humans. The human race is indeed saved from the control of the computer by the hero, as the legendary prophecy says. In the fourth episode, 20 years later, Neo and Trinity have already lost their memories. Neo lives a normal life in the Matrix. His identity has been transformed into a top game designer, but he is constantly disturbed by some déjà vu, and becomes a modal creator, using the modal as a test tool to design the game binary. The analyst becomes the architect and the manager of the new version of the Matrix. In the old Matrix, the architect used cold numbers and facts to manipulate the human mind, while the architect manipulates emotions, creates conflicts, and makes humans who take the blue pill obedient. But this time the sixth generation of the One's choice is not on the side of the AI machine, because he chose the human side for love. At that time, a terrible virus spread in Matrix, and even Oracle was infected. In the end, Neo made a deal with the AI machine to help it destroy the virus program in exchange for peace between humans and the machine. This time, Zion was not destroyed, and the programmed intelligence, which is more advanced than human intelligence, gave humans a choice. Humans can choose to live in the Matrix virtual space created by the machine civilization or in reality. The machine civilization also has some programmed awakeners with human emotions and consciousness to help the machine civilization further develop. The two civilizations have found a little room for integration and balance, leaving infinite room for reflection and exploration. Why has the Matrix become a classic for generations since its birth? Under the framework of cyberpunk science fiction, the concept of Hacker's Quest was created by following the lineage of Japanese animation masters such as Toshi Imamatsu, Katsuyo Otomo, and Masamune Tsuchiro's Hacker Squad, creating a unique world view that is filled with a thick, gloomy atmosphere and cold, detached visuals, making it a classic cyberpunk masterpiece. Not only the plot, story concept, and worldview at the time was at the forefront, with human survival in the virtual Matrix world to explore AI technology, machinery, human beings, the integration of a huge range of philosophical, religious, and other issues to consider. The ancient Greek philosophers stood at the starting point of human thought development, observed all things around them, studied the many changes of the universe, explored the one and the many, existence and absence, reality and reality, good and evil, and tried to describe, and explain the classical philosophical propositions of the world of the universe in which they live. The author of Hacker's Quest constantly explores reason, reality, and logic in the film, but Neo is neither rational, realistic, and logical, nor irrational, unrealistic and anti-logical, but beyond reason, reality, and logic. If the real world where Zion and the Matrix coexist is also considered as a heavenly realm, then a higher level of God or the Matrix is also needed to initiate or restart this universe. Neo's direct contact with God in the third episode brings him to the level of theological belief. The resurrection of Neo in the fourth episode is not the resurrection of Jesus, but the reincarnation and reincarnation. The way the universe works is that everything changes but remains the same. The changes in the universe point to a need for unity, and conflict is the mother of all things. The plot is designed to simulate a pre-civilization world similar to the Greek city-state. In this pre-civilization world, where no philosophical ideas have yet appeared, each character continuously debates with each other like atomic collisions, clarifying the pre-civilization world they are in step by step, opening the door to the future development of civilization, and continuously evolving and rebooting. The Matrix not only plays with new virtual technology, but is also good at collaging ancient religious symbols. The hero's name in the virtual world is Anderson, which means son of man in Greek. His name in the real world is Neo, meaning new, which can be derived from new man. And he is called the One or the Savior, which means Messiah or Savior in Christianity. The heroine's name is Trinity, which is the Christian name for the Trinity of God. Another important character in the movie is Oracle, which means prophetess or priestess who delivers the will of God. The name of the ship in which the hero sails is Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar is the king of Babylon, who had kidnapped Judah 3 times and made the kingdom of Judah extinct. The last remaining city in the movie is called Zion, while the rest of the world has been occupied or destroyed by computers. Zion actually means Jerusalem, and the name comes from Mount Zion, which is south of the old city of Jerusalem. The car that Agent Smith drives when he appears, with the license plate IS5416, is Isaiah 54:16. The movie discusses many themes about the Christian Messiah. The Messiah in the movie is a super-powered person who has the ability to save mankind from the computer's domination. This image of the Messiah is exactly the kind of Messiah that Jews have been looking for throughout the ages. Jesus was despised by the Jews and rejected by the world because he did not have such an image. Finally, he died on the cross in a weak and humble position. Not only did Jesus' life and death not change the fate of Israel or the Jewish people, but he also escaped the control and punishment of the Roman regime. Most movies portray the heroic figure as the exact opposite of Jesus' weak and humble image. In fact, the image of the Messiah in the movie Hacker's Quest is the very image that Jesus criticized. For Jesus is not portrayed as a mighty king, but as a scapegoat who came to the world to pay the price for the world, not to defeat the devil. He did not come to be glorified, but to suffer. The image of the Savior depicted in the movie is what Christians criticize, and from this criticism, Christians can once again consider the image of the true Messiah, the Savior. Modern man can no longer survive without computers, and now the killing of all human beings can be accomplished by computer AI. The movie The Matrix is about how in the future, in the post-apocalyptic era, the computer AI controls all mankind, and in this era of no hope, the prophesied savior of mankind Messiah will appear, and he will defeat the computer AI and save all mankind from the control of this monster. The hero Neo is this Messiah. The Matrix uses revelations to give a new interpretation in the computer age. The Matrix film series reveals a highly regulated meta-universe model called Matrix, which seems to prophesy a new world of anarchy with an anti-client-oriented AI. All the rules of survival in the Matrix are set and enforced by the AI, with important AI characters shaping the big picture, including the first-generation Matrix architect, the 3rd generation Matrix Oracle, and the 7th generation Matrix Psychoanalyst, Analyst. These AI characters are trying to construct the ethics and morality of the Matrix in different ways, and set the rules of the game in the meta-universe society, and even the AI in Hacker's Quest can control human hearts and minds. The 1st generation of the Architect AI was a cold-blooded ruler who demanded a mechanized obedience, where the ruler completely decided the life of the ruled. The subsequent Prophet AI, Oracle, is much more humane. After several trials, the AI found that as long as humans are given free will, the method is to make them feel they have free will. 99% of people will be obedient, so they only need to focus on dealing with 1% of rebels like Neo, Morpheus, who have the ability to think independently. This philosophical discussion of free will is the most classic core idea in the entire series. A classic line from The Matrix: choice is an illusion, created between those with power, and those without. Neo's decision to swallow the red pill in the 1st episode was a decision of free will. On the surface, Neo has the right to choose the blue pill freely, but in reality he must not choose so. Because according to the prophetic savior prophecy, it is impossible for Neo to not choose the red pill. The red pill is actually a trace program to help locate Neo's physical body. Why is a trace program needed? It is to solve a major problem in a large distributed system, the location problem. The Matrix is actually a mega-distributed system that connects people all over the world, and the trace program is essential to locate an individual. Neo as the hero is different from everyone else. He has a special name, the One. When Neo meets Oracle for the first time, Oracle says he is not the One yet, he is still missing something and may need a second life. Neo was shot by the agent and reborn as the One after a kiss from the heroine. What is really special about Neo is that he thinks he is a human, but he is actually a program that thinks he is a human, and that is what makes him unique. Matrix is the program simulation of the human world in 1999, so Zion's world is actually the program simulation of the human world in 2199. The purpose of Zion's existence is to bring together the unstable elements, human beings who are suspicious and awakened, and then to perform a cleansing. Before Neo, there were actually 5 similar purges. After the first 5 generations of the One realized that they were not people but programs, they all chose to destroy the Zion. Then they chose 16 women and 7 men to rebuild the Zion, eliminating the Matrix's instability and safely surviving the crisis to start the next generation cycle. There is another group of characters in the movie, all of them are programs, a bunch of obsolete programs that have been replaced by new ones. They can't find jobs in the Matrix, so they gather under a leader and become hooligans, doing things like smuggling. Every program in the Matrix needs to have a purpose, otherwise it will be deleted. But these programs are intelligent and conscious, and they don't want to be erased by the system, so they have to escape. For example, a backend management program can marry an interface interaction program and have a daughter. The daughter is also a program, but she is useless. Useless means that the program has no purpose and needs to be deleted, so the couple get the help of a rogue program to escape. The programmer is just a specific role in the machine society, which is not unlike human society. The tension between predestination and free will is inevitable, and this tension appears to be present throughout the entire The Matrix film series, stimulating the audience to think in depth. Hacker's Quest tells us that there is no absolute free will. The search for absolute freedom in a vast metaverse is a fantasy. After Neo and Trinity are resurrected, they will only continue to do the same thing, continue to be immersed in the Matrix as batteries, continue to be manipulated, and free will is just a dream. The opening of the 4th episode of The Resurrection has turned the redemption and tragedy of the previous 3 episodes into a ridiculous joke that is completely embarrassing. Through the role of a psychoanalyst, the AI convinces Neo that all the remaining memories of his past lives are merely hallucinations of some kind of psychosis, and the prescription he prescribes is, of course, the blue pill. Neo wakes up from his mucus-filled hair cell, just to pursue his true self and be himself. He is not interested in redeeming mankind, but only wants to play the role of an obsessed man in search of true love and find Trinity. And Trinity in the new Matrix has already married a woman, but also gave birth to a child. In order to be with Neo, she must see through the Matrix's falsehoods and abandon her husband and children in order to escape from the Matrix's bondage. Lana Wachowski, who was named Larry Wachowski 18 years ago when the first episode was filmed and changed his name to Lana after a sex change in 2012, has to leave her spouse and children to pursue herself and escape the sire bond of her own Matrix, just like Trinity. Trinity soon decides to abandon her husband and children, leaving the socially established moral value system of the Matrix and returning to her true love. When humans are in the virtual world of the metaverse, do they still need to have moral responsibility? All in all, The Matrix is a very influential movie that not only occupies an important place in the history of science fiction action movies, but also has a profound influence on philosophy, culture, art, and other fields. If you have not seen this movie, I highly recommend you to see it. It will give you a new perspective on the world.